Hello, friends. This is Professor Googlom. On my channel, you mostly watch videos about the beautiful world around us. But today, it's a little different. What is it about? Keep watching to find out. Mammoth yucca. Woolly mammoths are amazing animals. They weighed up to 8 tons. Modern elephants are almost half the size of their ancient relatives. It's hard to even imagine how huge and strong they were. But one of the most famous mammoths, whose remains have reached us, is only 205 centimeters long. Yucca is the first and so far the only mammoth with red hair to be discovered. Thanks to the young female, it was possible to learn more about the life and extinction of mammoths. She has become a kind of guide to the ancient world. This 28,000-year-old mammoth mummy is the best preserved mammoth mummy ever found. It is quite possible that man had a hand in the animal's demise. The animal was between 6 and 9 years old at the time, its red fur so well preserved, it looks as if it was just yesterday that Yucca was walking through the Siberian snows. The eyes, feet and internal organs are also well preserved. The mummy was discovered in 2010 in Yakutia by members of the Yukagir community on the southern coast of the Laptev Sea. The locals handed over the find to scientists. Later, the mammoth was found to have 2 deep cuts on its back, and some bones were missing, such as the spine, skull, ribs and pelvis. Fortunately, the skull was found nearby. A closer look revealed a cut running from the head to the middle of the back, as well as strange incisions made with what appeared to be a primitive saw-like instrument. It doesn't look like the wounds of a predator, which is why the scientists decided it was human. So maybe humans played a part in the extinction of the mammoths too. Mammoth luba. Woolly mammoths are some of the most remarkable animals of the last ice age. They roamed the lands of Europe, Asia, and North America for more than 100,000 years before disappearing like so many other large mammals. Fortunately for us, scientists are finding more and more mummies and can better study ancient life. For example, in 2007, reindeer herder Yuri Huddy found the remains of a mammoth cub, which was eventually named Liuba. The mammoth was found near the Uribe River. Liuba was preserved in excellent condition. Skin, fur, even eyelashes are in place. Scientists were able to study the DNA of the mummy, internal organs. In addition, they have established what consisted of the last meal of Liuba. They found milk and plants in the stomach. They also found out that the mammoth was only 35 days old and had been lying in the ice for 42,000 years. Sadly, Luba drowned in the clay mass. Due to the fact that the mummy was perfectly preserved, the project to edit the genome invested $15 million. Scientists hope that from the DNA Liuba will be able to derive a hybrid mammoth and elephant. All that is needed is to create embryos and plant them to a surrogate mother, or in an artificial uterus. The team of scientists believe that in just 6 years, the first cubs could be born. The cubs will be frost-resistant elephants with the habits of mammoths. They will be able to live at 40 degrees Celsius and will be able to do everything that is characteristic of both elephants and mammoths. The science is amazing. A plant coming back to life. The Siberian permafrost not only contains perfectly preserved animal mummies, but also amazing plants that are able to come back to life. The narrow-leaved tar sprouted from seeds that had been lying in the ice for more than 30,000 years. It's now the oldest living multicellular organism on Earth. It's hard to believe how the seeds ended up in the permafrost. Scientists say Arctic gophers dug burrows and hid the seeds at a depth of 38 meters. To their credit, Arctic gophers knew how to preserve food for a long time. With the help of placental tissues, scientists were able to regenerate fertile plants and plant them in pots in the laboratory. Within a year, the nearly 31,000-year-old plant had already flowered and even produced seeds. The natural cryopreservation of plant tissue proves that permafrost is a kind of a repository of ancient gene pool. And this has big implications for science, because it suggests that life found on Mars or any other icy planets could be revived. And since some companies are planning to colonize Mars in the near future, this could come in handy. Ship endurance. Everyone knows about the famous shipwrecks Titanic, Edmund Fitzgerald, Lusitania. These are just a few of the ships that sank, and the list goes on and on. Some disasters are even the subject of Hollywood movies. But you may not know about the Endurance. It's an expedition ship owned by Antarctic explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton. It was discovered in the Weddell Sea in 2022. The ship had been resting at a depth of 3,000 meters for 107 years. Amazingly, it was perfectly preserved. The ship sank after colliding with a glacier in 1915. Sir Shackleton and his 27 crew members miraculously managed to leave the sinking ship by boat and escape. They camped on an ice floe and kept heading north. Eventually the men managed to reach Mordvinov Island, but their condition was rapidly deteriorating. The captain decided to gather a small party and go by dinghy to South Georgia Island for help. After several difficult months, the entire crew was rescued and everyone returned home alive. Maritime archaeologists have no exaggeration of admiration for this shipwreck, as the wooden ship is perfectly preserved. Researchers in submarines explored the seabed for 2 weeks. They were looking for something interesting on the seabed and suddenly came across the wreck. What makes the find unique is that it was discovered on the centenary of Sir Shackleton's death. Unexpected animal life. In 2022, scientists have discovered something that has only been seen in science fiction movies before. At a depth of 914 meters under the ice, researchers have found living organisms. Geologists took a core sample from the seafloor under the Filchner-Ronne ice shelf in the Weddell Sea in West Antarctica and found something that biologists believe is a type of living sponge. At first the scientists were upset, because the boulders on the seabed prevented them from taking a sample, but then they noticed colonies of living organisms clinging to the boulders. As it later turned out, these were live sea sponges. This discovery put scientists in a deadlock, because these animals are immobile and they do not hunt for their food, they feed on what swims past them. However, there can be no food sources at this depth and temperature. Science still can't answer the question of what the sponges fed on to survive. If an answer is found, it will probably be as incredible as the very existence of living organisms in such conditions. Ancient pyramids. Who built the ancient pyramids? This question has been asked by mankind for a very long time, and many of the most impossible theories have been put forward. In the summer of 2023, satellite images revealed something that only gave rise to new incredible theories. Mysterious pyramids were discovered beneath the Antarctic ice. Satellites have photographed giant pyramid-shaped structures in the southern part of the Ellsworth mountain range. Several strange peaks peeked through the snow. According to measurements, the pyramids have a square base, and each side is at least 2 kilometers long. They are very similar to the pyramids at Giza in Egypt. Many theories about the origin of the find instantly started flying around the internet. The most popular of the theories is that the pyramids built a civilization that existed before the flood. It is quite possible, because in ancient times in Antarctica reigned quite warm climate. But not everyone believes in the theory with a religious context. Judging by the peak peeking out of the snow, these pyramids are indeed similar to the Egyptian, but skeptics are sure the fact that the structure has a neat shape does not indicate that it is the work of human hands. After all, not everyone even believes that the Egyptian pyramids were built by humans. This argument will continue until there is something other than satellite images to firmly prove one theory or another. Viking sword. The Norwegian Glacial Archaeology Organization said a 200-year-old Viking sword has been found. It was discovered by reindeer hunters. This is an incredible find. Scientists believe the sword was created around the 850s AD. It is believed that such a sword is an invariable attribute of a Viking. The blade is covered in rust, but for the scientific community it has been well preserved, all thanks to low temperatures and low pressure. Friends, don't hesitate to write comments under the video about what else you would like to learn. I will definitely fulfill your wish. Bye for now.